you know, and recognize them by their pronouns instead of you know, what reality demonstrates. If you are born a man, you're a man. If you're born a female, you're a woman. If you're born a male, you're a man. You see, but they want to take, I mean, and say, well, look, I feel like a woman today. Whether you're 6'4" male, 250 pounds or not, you know, got a full beard, you know, have all the working parts of a male, and they want to be able to walk into the female restroom and use the restroom with other females. That's not right. You see, they are bending, not just bending the truth, they're breaking the truth. Okay, and we stand on love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and we want to exercise all those principles. But they're those, you know, there's this movement, and it's all about, you know, pushing falsehood to the front. And we know what happens when you feed the soul falsehood. It perverts it. You see, and this is what they're doing. You know, it's a form of perversion where they pervert the soul. You see, by feeding it falsehood. So you know, there's this affront on truth. They're attacking the truth, and words no longer have their meaning. You know, they want to change what the words actually mean. You see, or the rules that govern, the natural rules that govern humanity, mankind. Okay, and you know, we got to recognize that. We got to see it for what it is, an attack on truth. And we as Moorish Americans, we stand for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And not that we want to attack these people, these individuals, but we want to put truth back where it belongs at. And we want to be, you know, practitioners of truth, and get other people to see that it's necessary that they recognize truth for what it is. Because as long as people are willing to accept falsehoods, these lies, then, you know, things are going to not just stay the same, they're going to get worse. See, because they will continually keep moving the goalpost, if you will, okay, and keep striving to change, you know, the standards, the principles. What they're trying to get at are the principles, you see. And if they can corrupt your principles or corrupt the principles, then, you know, they can pretty much do whatever they want to do, you see. All right. So, and then there in verse 11 here, the prophet says, we are trying to uplift fallen humanity. We're trying to uplift fallen humanity. Come and link yourself with the families of nations. We honor all the true and divine prophets. Okay. So here, the goal is to uplift all of, you know, fallen humanity, and to link ourselves with the families of nations. So that's everyone. Okay. And so everyone is being included. All right. Even
back to the Grand Sheik.
He dropped.
And Grand Sheik just dropped off the map. I was waiting. Dang. Anyway, good. Well, I guess that's my cue. I don't know what happened. I was waiting for it to yield the floor, but I guess that's my cue. Well, anyway, family, it is my time to teach my portion of the class. Honor to our Assistant Grand Sheik, Q. Robson L, for opening up the meeting. Honor for all those who have assisted and being a part of active part of this class. and honor to those who are on Facebook that will be an active part of this class. But today, family, we're going to talk about the spirituality of the Moorish Science Temple of America. First, let me rise to give praise to the great God of the universe, Allah. I give honor to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I give honor to the forerunner of the Prophet, Brother Marcus Mosiah Garvey. I give honor to each and every one of you. Family, for me, this is very, very important. Let me make sure I pin myself. Okay, this is very, very important to me. And the reason why this is very, very important to me, because it seems to me that those who call themselves Moorish American, they would side themselves with Sunni Islam, if you will. You would see a Sunni overtone. And this is not a shot at those who practice Sunni Islam. I am a practicing Moorish American Muslim, and I am of the thought that Prophet Noble Drew Ali gave us a full system to function in, no different than what Muhammad gave to the Mohammedans or to the Arabs. No different than what Jesus or Abraham gave to them people. I think that, and I'm of the thought and faith that Prophet Noble Drew Ali gave us a complete system connected to the ancient and the divine creed of our forefathers and foremothers. I'm not of the thought that we should be duplicating or copying customs and systems that has been demonstrated by our brothers and sisters of yesterday as it relates to their customary practices, if it's not practical for us today. I'm not of that thought. I stand on it. And so I think it's very important that we codified, once we decode the system of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I'm not going to walk around, have people thinking that I'm not going to be walking around having people think that I follow Islam as an Arab. I do not follow Islam like an Arab. Prophet Noble Drew Ali did not bring us Islam like an Arab. I'm not going to go out my way to learn Arabic. I'm not going to go out my way to learn how to make salat 5 times a day. I'm not going to go out my way to learn how to do all the customary practices of an Eastern persuaded Islamist, Muslim, etc. Now, if you have free time to do that, then that's fine. Take all the time that you want. Learn how to make salat the way the Shiites make it. Learn how to make salat the way the Sunni make it. Learn how to make salat the way the Sufi make it. Learn how to make salat the way the indigenous people of Arabia make it. What I want to learn is the deeper essence of what prayer means according to the teaching of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And if that's what you want to learn, you're in the right place. The reason why I named those schools of thought, because every school of thought do prayer, salat, slightly different. And the truth don't change nor passes away. And if you are a true Moorish scientist, you will stick to the essence of the truth and not variations of the truth. The essence of the truth is what sets you free. Jesus says truth will set you free. And he's talking about the pure, uncut version of the truth, not the truth dressed up in cultural overtones. I make no apology about this. Listen, we're in the 9th inning. The bases are loaded. Aldo and Kinsey Bay. When do we have to hit a home run? In the 9th inning, bases are loaded, and how many strikes and how many balls do we have? And we just got to hit it this time. What are we working with? Talk to me, Elder Kinsey Bay. Aldo and Kinsey Rael. Talk to me. You the coach. Talk to me, Kinsey Rael. Not you, Kinsey Bay. You've been talking too much. No, I'm just
It's on.
What is the perfect situation? It's the 9th inning. With the bases are loaded. We got 2 strikes How many balls we get?
You get 4 balls.
So we got 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Fully loaded. Yeah, fully loaded. Fully loaded.
What we got to do, brother?
So you got to square up to that base and guard the plate and make sure that they bring a strike across that plate, because more than likely you swinging, but you don't want to swing if they ain't coming across that plate.
All right. Now, if we're on at the bat, what we got to do?
If you at the bat, you line up in the box, you square up in the box, and you get your body positioned properly, squared so that you in harmonic position to make the play the way you need to make it, first, second, third, in the outfield or whatever. But the ideal is to hug that plate. You want to hug that plate because you want to make them have to make the play by throwing a strike.
Come on, man. Come on, man. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother, for chiming in. And it's amazing that I use this analogy because it's going into baseball season right now. But that is our in-house coach right there. That's our in-house umpire. We got an in-house umpire up in this demonstration. So y'all ain't got the talent we got over here at Noble Temples. We got an in-house umpire and coach. But with that being said, is there one second. Islam. So with that being said, so one of the things that we got to do is that it's serious business right now. It's serious business right now because many people have been confused and manipulated as to what the Moorish Science Temple is and what it stands for. I want to say again, family, you are charged. You members of the noble temples. I'm not concerned about other groups. I'm not concerned about other administrations. I'm concerned about you in the noble temples. You are to go forth and teach the true teachings of Prophet Noble Drew Ali against all odds. Uncut. Regardless of what other people are teaching, you are charged to teach the teaching of Prophet Noble Drew Ali uncut. That means we're not sending nobody to buy prayer rugs to make salat because that's not a prerequisite of the Moorish Science Temple of America. And when I say salat, I'm speaking of prostration prayer. But in reality, salat means prayer. And you are obligated to pray. But we're going to talk about what is prayer in the Moorish philosophy. So when I say salat, I'm interchanging it with prostration. Now, this is the part where people will miss, but let them miss it. There's nothing wrong with prostration. Our ancestors have been doing it for eons. Prostration is just a variation of prayer. In the Moorish Science Temple of America, we deal with the essence of prayer. We deal with before you go down on your face, you have already intermingled with the divine within. So whether you have arms or not, whether you have limbs on your bottom structure, legs or not, you can still understand how to commune with the divine within and don't feel guilty that you can't do the customary practice without. The universal creator does not make concessions for man. And what I mean is, He don't give you excuses to run with. I mean, Friday L said, why do we pray to the east? I'm going to get to that in a minute. Why do we face the east? As a matter of fact, I'll get to it right now. Facing the east is a customary practice facing the rising of the sun. Because in the morning, the sunrise morning, you mourn the night because that was death. And now life comes from death. Life springs forth from death, and you mourn the night, mourning the break of dawn. It's dawning. There's a new life coming about. And so symbolically, you center your energy towards a direction that is powerful towards the connection of the energy. So if you was to face east and you centered it towards the rising of the sun, all of the energies are united in one direction for one purpose. If you were all to face the west, you will be united in energy to serve one purpose. But the rising of the sun is symbolic to the rising of the phoenix, to the rising of the spirit of Allah in man. It's only symbolic. For Allah is the God of the north, south, east, and west. It's only symbolic. It is a reminder. When you face the east, you're facing the rising of the sun. It is a reminder that you must rise. It is a reminder. That's it. We don't get into the spooky ideals that if you don't face the east, that you have committed a horrible sin. In the Moorish Science Temple of America, we look at the practicality of a thing. And we have agreed to follow the teachings of the Prophet Noble Ali. And we have agreed that in unison, according to our Quran, that all knowledge comes from the east. And so symbolically, as a reminder, we turn and face the east. But that is a Moorish customs connected to our ancient forefathers' customs and creed and principle. And this is why they called our ancient forefathers sun worshippers, because they faced the rising of the sun. So we're consistent with our ancient forefathers' divine creed and principles. So the Europeans see our people facing the sun. They will call us sun worshippers, idolaters. But we know that it's only symbolic. The sun is not a law. It's an instrument of a law. The prophet breaks this down to us. And we'll be able to break it. Now, ask a Sunni Muslim why he prays to the east. And he's going to say, because the Kaaba. Something that's built with the hands of man. But ain't no man put no sun in the sky. Ain't no man can make the sun break and crack the dawn. So we look at the natural universe and use the symbolism. But if you ask a Sunni brother, he said, because the Kaaba is in the east. No. It's built by the hands of man. Let me get to it. So my brother Friday L, it's only symbolic. We're going to get into that in a minute. And now, let me tell you, you should write this down. I'm going to be hyped today. You should write this down because many people want us to practice something that's not ours. Many people call themselves Moorish Americans, want us to practice something that's not ours. Prophet Noble Ali brought us our divine creed. He brought us our religion. He brought something that is unique for the Moorish American, but interlocks with our ancestors. But this is ours, and you should own it. And you should own it. Now, one of the questions that we need answered, we're going to answer today, because we surely like to try to act like that somebody's spiritual systems supersedes ours. I need somebody on Facebook. I need somebody. Hey, family, if y'all are in this meeting, I'm not yelling at you. Sessions L, I love you. I'm not yelling at you. I love
I
you.
love you too, GS. I understand.
I'm just, I be yelling, man. But listen, I need somebody to tell me. I need someone to show me where in the Quran it says that and I'm gonna speak of the Holy Quran of Mecca because we're gonna do some comparisons right now. If you are so familiar, especially for the people on Facebook, where in the Holy Quran of Mecca does it says to be a Muslim, you must adhere to the 5 pillars of Islam? Can anybody show me where that verse is? Just raise your hand if you know the verse. If you don't even know where the verse is, maybe you could just say, I know where it's at, but I just can't locate it right this time. Do anybody know where the verse is? Well, let me tell you that it does not exist. It does not exist. It's made up. It's a custom made up by Arabs, where they took particular verses out the Holy Quran of Mecca and they say, well, this one is, this one is, this one is, this one. Oh, and number 5, this one is. These are the 5 pillars of Islam. And one will look you in the face as a Moorish American Muslim and say, you're not a Moorish American, you're not a Muslim or a Muslim. You don't follow the 5 pillars of Islam. You don't make salat. So the question would be, in reality, I don't have to explain nothing to them. But I want you to follow the teachings of the Prophet Noble Ali, the last prophet in these days, with confidence. I want you to be confident in this. Because when Muhammad came on the scene and everybody disagreed with him, that didn't stop his confidence. That didn't stop his confidence. His confidence was so much so that we're still talking about him later. In this hour, we're still talking about him. No matter how many people disagreed with Jesus, it didn't matter. We're still talking about him this hour because he had the confidence that what he was teaching was right and exact. And you all are little Jesuses. You all are little Muhammads. You all are little Prophet Noble Drew Ali's. That's what we're supposed to be working towards. Imitating the prophets, imitating all the prophets in speech and teach. That's what we're supposed to be working towards. And we shouldn't be scared to say that's what we're working towards. These prophets had confidence in what they come to know or what they were sent to this earth with. And whatever you are come to know, you should have confidence. I got full confidence in this. Now, let's get to this point. Let's get to this point. When we get to the point of, we know that the 5 pillars of Islam is not illustrated in the Holy Quran of Mecca in any particular way that is outlined as an instruction. It's just not there. However, throughout the Islamic world, you have this teaching that if you are not demonstrating this according to how they customarily put it together, then you are an outlaw. See, it's no different than when they say if you don't give your life to Jesus, you're going to burn in eternal fire. They're always trying to scare somebody into heaven, always trying to fear somebody into paradise. The only way you're going to get into paradise is learning to think so you can save yourself. It's the only way you're getting in. Now, prayer, salat is one and the same. Prostration is a variation of how prayer can be performed or how salat can be performed. Many people have took the term salat and made it synonymous with prayer, which it is, but then made that synonymous with prostration. They are not all the same. And you should not bend your intelligence to that way. Prayer, salat is synonymous. There's many ways to pray. Zakah, almsgiving. In the Islamic faith, they would lean towards, if you don't have money, then feed the poor. That is one of the high variations of almsgiving. Charity. We got a whole chapter on charity. So when you're talking about alms or zakat or charity, you're talking of giving something and not expecting nothing in return. Now, man will take that terminology and then make it food. Man will take that terminology or those words, make it clothing. Man will even take that and say, if you don't have any of that, then make some more prayer to Allah. But in the Moorish Science Temple of America, the ultimate charity is written in our chapter called what? Charity. The best gift that you can give somebody else is finding yourself. Because the good of you is not for you, but what it can do for others. The highest degree of charity is you finding you. Because you is not necessarily good for you, it will be gooder or better for others. Then it talks about fasting. It's talk about fasting. Well, in the Quran, the word for fasting is not even what they try to make it out to be. It actually means abstain. And they took it and made the word fasting. It's called Siyam, but they made it fasting. As they say, Psalm. But the actual word equivalence equals to abstinence, abstaining. But we'll leave that alone. And then the pilgrimage, the Hajj. And we know good and well that there's a deeper meaning in talking about the Hajj. For we do know without a doubt or contradiction that the pilgrimage wasn't always a thing from a physical perspective at the same geographical location. That don't even make sense either. Because at one time, they were facing Jerusalem, and that was the place of the pilgrimage. So that don't even make sense. So what man has done has taken a natural phenomenon taught by Prophet Muhammad, and they remixed it, repackaged it, and the word is codified it and sold it to millions and millions of people. We have a prophet, Prophet Noble Ali, who brings us these teachings, right? And when he brings us these teachings, he brings them uniquely for us. So we don't get caught up into the murky ethers of trying to figure out, have somebody put their hand in the cookie jar. The problem with us is we don't have confidence that this man born in North Carolina, 1886, got the mojo. We don't believe that he is the one with the answer. So guess what we do? We go everywhere else looking for the answer, when the answer is right in our little pamphlet. The answer is right in our questionnaire. The answer is right in our divine constitution and bylaw. But we don't have confidence in that. We don't have confidence because you got about 1,500 years accumulated information surrounding the life of Prophet Muhammad and the Quran. And we believe that bigger is better, that more is better. You got about 2,000 years of information of Jesus and the life of Jesus, compiled all different perspectives, and we believe bigger is better. But in less than 100 years, you got a little teeny pamphlet and a little smaller pamphlet and a sheet of paper, and you think that's insignificant. But that's your slave mind that tells you that. Grandma used to say less is more. But we don't want to listen to grandma either. We think grandma was crazy, talking about less is more. Well, anyway, less is more in this situation. So let's get into this real quick. How do you worship Allah as a Moorish American? The Prophet Noble Ali teaches us. How do you worship Allah as a Moorish American? It's nothing complicated. If you were to serve Allah who speak within the heart, just serve your nearer kin. Learn how to serve your nearer kin. Those who are no kin, the strangers at your gate, the foe who seeks to do you harm. Assist the poor and help the weak. Do harm to none and covet what is not yours. Then with your tongue the Holy One will speak. Stop right there. Most people don't have confidence in this. This is why they got to make all these salats. This is why they got to make all these pilgrimages. This is why they got to dress all funny. This is why they got to talk all funny. Because they don't believe in this simple thing right here. See, this is very simple. This is very basic. They would not attempt to do this, but they would spend thousands of dollars on beads. They would spend thousands of dollars on apparel. They would spend thousands of dollars on books. They would spend thousands of dollars on everything customarily agreeable with Eastern persuasion of Islam, as opposed to if you went to serve Allah who speaks within the heart. See how basic that is? We looking for something complicated. We don't want to do anything that's very basic and pure. We're looking for something complicated as a people. And that's the craziest thing that I've ever noticed about my people, that we're always looking for something complicated. But when it's time to put in work, even though they're looking for something complicated, they're looking for the road of least resistance. They even cheat on when they find the complicated part. I heard a brother yesterday, he says, yeah, I'm smoking right now because I'm doing an interview. It was a rapper. I'm smoking right now because I'm doing an interview, but it is Ramadan, but I'm on a journey and I'm doing an interview. He justified smoking a blunt during Ramadan to associate it with work as doing an interview for talking about another rapper, and he says he's also on a journey. And Allah will forgive those who break their fast when they're on a journey or work. Something he was making up. This was a real thing. This was a real thing. So what I'm saying is, even though we are looking for the road that's more complicated, we even get to that and then take the path of least resistance. When the Prophet Noble Ali said something very simple, and you must bear in mind, when you harm man in thought, word, or deed, another man, he does wrong to Allah. We're talking about worshiping Allah here. Why do people make salat synonymous with worshiping God? Why do people make prayer synonymous with worshiping God? In the Moorish Temple of America, the highest degree of serving God is serving your near kin, The stranger at your gate, the foe that seeks to do you harm, assist the poor, help the weak, do no harm to none, and covet not what is yours, what is not yours. Then with your tongue, the Holy One will speak. I haven't heard nowhere where you make 1,000 salats with your tongue, the Holy One going to speak. That thing is moving my hand signal. I haven't heard nowhere that if you count prayer beads, that with your tongue the Holy One will speak. Listen, I make no apology about these teachings. So if people are offended, they just have to be offended. There's nowhere where I read that with your tongue the Holy One will speak when you commit to an action that goes with the doctrine. Did y'all know somewhere? Maybe y'all can show me somewhere. Maybe Rockman Bay knows somewhere. Maybe somebody knows something. Tell me something. Because this doctrine tells me that if I demonstrate this, then this is going to happen. What is the highest degree of the science? Me doing that over there or me doing this over here? What is the highest degree of the science? The highest degree of the science is that Allah, God, is going to be activated through you, by you, as you. Oh, we scared of that. We scared of that. But see, the Prophet Natopn wasn't scared to teach you that. So that is worshiping Allah, serving Allah, highest degree. When people ask about prayer and they think prayer is indicative of making salat, I say prayer is not indicative of salat, nor it is indicative of what we've been taught. Let's know what prayer is. Prayer is to ask with earnestness or zeal as for a favor or something desirable, to entreat or supplicate. You can ask a man, a woman. This is why in our Quran it say, I pray Jesus, and Jesus say, I pray you brothers let me in your dismal crypts. Go read your Quran and look how many times the term pray or prayer is mentioned. You will notice that Jesus and others use the term prayer as an earnest request. Even when it says, I pray Jesus, tell me, what is faith? But we're so used to what the European told us what these words mean, that when we say that, oh, he's praying to Jesus, that ain't what pray mean. That ain't what pray mean. And this is why Prophet Natopn is the man of the hour. Because they have convoluted words and gave us stuff that they supposed to mean in our mind, but really don't mean what they were purposed meaning, what the purpose of the word was for. When our Quran, when it talks about prayer, listen to what it says. When men are afraid of Allah, they take him as a foe. They dress other men up in fancy garbs and call them priests. They call them sheiks. They call them grand sheiks. Dress them up in fancy garbs, curly shoes, and all of the fancy jeweled up little robes, and call them sheiks. I got a few of them too. I ain't got the curly shoes, but I'm just trying to make a point. And charge them to restrain the wrath of Allah, now listen to the word, by prayers. And when they fail to win his favor by their prayers, they buy him off with sacrifice of animals or bird. Whenever you see prayers in the Quran, it's always to the negative. I bet you never noticed that. You have two sorts of prayer in the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. You have, I pray Jesus, where they earnestly asking. And then you got prayers where they're praying to Allah and everything fails. Here's one right here. And charge them to restrain the wrath of Allah by prayers, And when they fail to win his favor by their prayers, to buy him off with sacrifice of animals and birds. Now we know what they're about to do at the end of Ramadan, right? But to murder thousands, if not millions, of animals. So it says that, and we're going to talk about those two instances in the Quran where it's on the other side of prayer. Where you're not receiving no award, it's like Allah not even listening to these sorts of prayers. And the Moorish doctrine, and when man sees Allah as one with him, as Father Allah, he needs no middleman, no priest to intercede. He goes straight up to him and says, my Father God, Allah, and then he lays his hand on Allah's own hand, and Allah, and all is well. That's a symbolism that your mind is the mind of the universal creator, or the universal creator and your mind is intermingled, and you know that all is well because man and Allah is one. Go to the next one. It says, you worship Allah with voice and lips. Your heart is far away. Now let's go down to 27 on chapter 14. And robbers ply their calling in the sacred hills. The holy temple you have sold to thieves. Their dens are in the sacred places set apart for prayer. That's to the negative. Why is it in our Quran, whenever you see prayer, it has something to do with going towards the negative? Go throughout your whole Quran and look for prayer. If you want to commune with Allah, there is something in our Quran that associates communing with the inside, the divine, the Allah, but it's not used in the term of prayer. Did anybody notice that? It's not used in the term of prayer. Listen, I know this can sound a little different. Let's go see what the term is used in our Quran. This is the Moorish Science Temple of America. This is our philosophy. Give me 1 second. Hold up. Right, here we go. If you want to communicate with the divine, don't talk about no prayer in our Quran. See, we got to rewire our mind. It said, weak and ignorant thou art, O man. Humble as thou art to be, O child of the dust. Wilt thou raise thy thoughts to infinite wisdom? Wilt thou see omnipotence displayed before thee? Contemplate thine frame. What is contemplation? Like, let's erase from our mind for 1 second what we come to know as prayer. Let's act like that word don't exist. And let's just deal with contemplation. What is contemplation? See, this is the new evolved human being process to commune with the divine within. It's called contemplation, introspection. If you want to pull out the true divine, the prophet says, contemplate thine frame. If you want to understand it, contemplate thine frame. We would rather do customarily, we would rather customize our prayers as opposed to get to the essence first. And let's be interactive. Rockwood Bay, what do contemplate mean? Real quick, no dictionary, no nothing. What does it mean?
Islam, camelback of all praise honors rendered. It means circumspection, circumspect, being circumspect, introspect. There's a certain, it can go into even meditation to a certain degree, you know. Yeah, Islam.
Islam, absolutely. So that's just the basic thing. It's going within and being to touch and commune in the most innermost part of yourself. This is Moorish science. This is not that. And until we are able to accept that our prophet gave us something that rivals customs and merely ideas of men of yesterday, we're going to be stuck in yesterday. We're going to be sitting around riding camels while everybody else is riding around in electric cars. Everybody, the whole world will be riding around on floating electric cars, and we'll be sitting on the back of a donkey. And I'm talking about a spiritual, man, each prophet unfolds the spiritual system into another level. Each prophet does that. This is why they was mad at Jesus. This is why the Pharisees and the Sadducees was mad at Jesus, because he unfolded to another level. And this is why Jesus kept saying, I come not to destroy the law, but to fulfill the law. And not a jot or tittle will be removed until heaven or earth pass first. He had to keep telling them that I'm not changing nothing. I'm not, but they thought he was changing something. And it's the same thing with the teachings of the prophet Sprituality. People think that we're changing something because they cannot comprehend or even wrap their mind around the science that Allah is infinite, the knowledge is infinite, and it's being unfolded into another level, purposely for the Moorish American. It's purposely done this way. This is why Muhammad had problems. They didn't understand that Muhammad had an elevated version of what they knew to be before him. This is why he got chased around. They want to kill him. And all the prophets had to go through this. Bar none. Bar none. All of them had to go through it. It's no different with the teachings of the prophet Sprituality. There's no different with the teachings of the prophet Sprituality. Now, let me go to my next one. It says to contemplate thine frame. But it said, what thou see omnipotence displayed before thee. Can anybody give me a definition of omnipotence? Anybody? Somebody, anybody grab it. Let me get me some water. Anybody grab it. What's the definition of omnipotence? Anybody?
All powerful.
All powerful. It's saying that if you contemplate thy frame, the all powerful, unlimited power will be displayed before you. It don't tell you nothing but no ritual to make. No, it doesn't tell you anything about that. Let me go to my next one. It says in chapter 19, I go my way, Jesus says, but ye shall go to all the world and teach the gospel of the omnipotence of man, the power of truth and the resurrection of the dead. Somebody, Tabadi L, what is omnipotence? No dictionary, off the top of the head. What is omnipotence?
Islam, Grand Sheikh. Can you hear me?
I can hear you well.
Divinity, Islam.
Islam. Anybody else? So man, it said, so he said divinity. So go forth and teach the divinity of man. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying, Islam.
Islam, that's good enough for me. We're gonna leave it right there. That's good enough for me. And we got to be comfortable with saying this. Don't let nobody make you feel guilty. We are divine beings. And all the mistakes that we call mistakes is there to polish us, to make us more better so. To bring us closer to the unfoldment of the ultimate divine that's in us. Let nobody make you feel guilty. Now, chapter 17 reads, this is talking about, we're talking about now the spirituality of the Moorish American. You cannot teach this synonymous with what we know to be the Arabic form of Islam or the Mohammedan form of Islam that people talk about today. It does not fit. Jesus says, what I can do, all men can do. Go teach the gospel of the omnipotence of man. There you go again. The gospel of the unlimited ability of man. This is what you're supposed to do. Stop limiting yourself. Stop teaching people to limit you. This is different. Then I'm going to get to my brother question in a minute about forgiveness. Now, right here, we see Lamaze ask, pray. What is faith? There that term pray again. He's earnestly asking. And Jesus says, faith is the surety of the omnipotence. There that word omnipotence again. Omnipotence of a law in man. This is the Moorish Science Temple of American doctrine. They cannot teach this in Arabia. Are you insane? This would not fly in Arabia. Faith is the surety of the omnipotence of a law in man. This is putting man and God on an equal playing field. Now, what do you mean by that, Brother Talker Bay? I'm saying that man is made in the image and after the likeness of the Creator, and that man has the potential within the capacity of his life experience on earth to display unlimited powers, unlimited qualities associated with the universal creator law. Is man the universal creator law? Absolutely not. But does he have the ability within the capacity of his ether plane, what we call earth, to demonstrate it unlimited possibilities? Of course he do. This is the Moorish Science Temple of America doctrine. Not to be confused. Not to be confused. This is not to be confused with that. And you are charged to teach this. Now, family, when people in the Islamic faith says, oh, you said you're a Muslim, have you taken your Shahada? Let me stop for a minute. Don't let people confuse you with an act that they associated with a word. Don't act like Shahada is there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is his messenger. That's not what Shahada mean. Shahada mean witness or declaration. Now, what they do is they add their declaration to Shahada. And their declaration to Shahada is, there is no God but Allah, Muhammad is his messenger. But Shahada as the word mean witness or declaration. And in our Quran, of the Moorish Science Temple of America, we can bear witness. We can bear witness. There is but one God, Allah, the author, the creator, the governor of the world. Almighty, eternal, and incomprehensible. Verse 3 of the chapter of religion. To the one who is supreme, most wise, beneficent, and him alone belong worship, adoration, thanksgiving, and praise. Who has stretched forth the heavens with his hand, who has described with his fingers the courses of the sky. That's witnessing. If you bear witness, that's a declaration. In the most literal sense, that's Shahada. In the most literal sense, that's Shahada. With that being said, let me bring our noble Sessions L into the building. Islam, brother, the floor is yours.
Quick question. Wouldn't our nationality cards be considered a declaration?
You better say it again.
I hereby declare you are a Muslim under the divine laws.
You better say it again.
Islam.
You better say it again. Absolutely, brother. What I'm trying to do, I'm trying to show people that they're jumping out the window trying to follow customs of other nations of people when we have ours right before us. The unfortunate part is many sheiks that call themselves sheiks or grand sheiks have not decoded anything that's before us. But we got other declarations and witnesses. With us, we must proclaim our nationality. And we're teaching our people that nationality in their divine creed, that they will know they're not Negro, color folk, black people, Ethiopians, but that's you're making a declaration, a proclamation right there. And even when we bear witness to the prophet, and this is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained noble duality. That's a declaration. That's bear witnessing. So we got it all through our doctrine. Shahada is all through our doctrine. You understand what I'm saying? Shahada only means witness or declaration, whichever one you want to choose. Just like if you talk about Quran only means recital or reading, whichever one you want to choose. So let's go to the next. So we just need to make sure as I get this all codified. Now I don't want to get to that first. Let me see what time we got. Okay, we got a little bit of time. I want to get to my brother, John L. John L said, Islam family, I have a question for the floor. What is Moorish process of forgiveness? How do we initiate forgiveness for someone who did grave offenses against us? With that being said, I want to bring my brother John to the floor and ask him, how do we do that? Brother John L, are you there, brother? John Williams L.
Islam. I give praise to Allah, honor to the Holy Prophet, Noble Durali. Happy to be here among my brothers and sisters.
So, brother, I need you in short. You posed the question to the table, and the question is again, I repeat, what is the Moorish process of forgiveness? How do we initiate forgiveness for someone who did grave offenses against us? Now we're going to have a discussion for the remainder of the class. Brother, be short because I want to pass it around if you can, but if you got to take long and be long-winded like me and McCallum, we don't mind. Let's go. And all the other sheiks. Sheiks are long-winded.
So what's the question again? What's the question specifically again, Grand Sheikh?
You asked the question, how do we initiate forgiveness in a Moorish process about one who did us some grave harm? Something to that degree. Or you said grave offenses against us. What is your understanding in a Moorish process of forgiveness? What you got?
Well, I actually answered my own question. Well, I put my portion of understanding when I was going back and forth with the assistant Grand Sheikh when I expressed how when I went through X, Y, and Z, the process that I went through. And in a nutshell, my process was basically like, a lot of times when we go through things, oftentimes it starts off with the offense. It starts off with the offense. You're angry, you're upset, you might want to get some get back, et cetera, et cetera. But as I shared with the assistant that we reach a point as Moors, my thing is, we follow the science of life. And so my thing, we get to a point to where we got to look at self. What did I do to contribute to this offense? Did I miss something? Did I intentionally do something? Did I act out of ignorance? Did I ignore the red flag? What did I do to bring this into my life? And so that part right there is, I feel like a lot of people miss. And I think that's the one thing that sets us apart when it says, know thyself and thy Father God Allah. At some point, we have to stop looking at the offender and look at oneself and say, well, what did I do? Whether I did something intentionally, unintentionally, by default, or whatever. And that is a great work. That's a conflict that can't be told in words. psychologically and emotionally to take accountability for your role in whatever has happened. And so for me, I had to go through this process. And it's a serious process, especially when you're not used to or you're not taught initially to take responsibility for your actions. So that being said, once you do get to that point, you reach a level of clarity where you can now see the role that you. One of the most amazing experiences I've had is that I had an experience previously, and I'll be brief. I had an experience in one of the first times I ever did this, where I actually just looked at myself. I'm crying and crying and crying. I'm mad. I'm mad. I'm mad. And then I said, you know what? You got your nerve to be sitting in here looking at the man in the mirror, crying, but it's the man in the mirror that contributed to this. So you are responsible for your own tears. I was like, wow. You know, it was an epiphany. And it gave me so much clarity that I was not only able to forgive myself, I was able to forgive the offender. We're not perfect. And so with that, I'm like, okay, well, I did do this wrong. I did do that wrong. I had to be honest. And that honesty can be so brutal. If you're not, you know, it can be a brutal thing to have to really just be honest with yourself. Like, yeah, you did do that. Yeah, you did say that. You know, and so with that being said, it brought me ultimately to the point of, as I was discussing with the assistant last night, I was able to ultimately release the offender and and forgive myself. And I came out on the other end of it, a better person, you know, a better person. And I benefited from it and all the good things that I was able to see that did happen in that relationship. One thing being, me being a spiritual person, I knew I did at least plant a seed. You know, I planted a seed of good action in that relationship. So that was one of the few things that I was able to walk away with in that particular experience. Peace.
It's love. But let me say something, man. Let me say this. And I'm just going to expound a little bit because that is definitely a mic drop. That is definitely a mic drop. And I'm going to tell you why that's a mic drop. Because you posed a question in there, in the chat, and you communicated with our assistant Grand Sheikh, Marzouk Razinel, who is, for all intents and purposes, is my senior. You know what I mean? My big brother. But he joined the Moorish Science Temple of America under my leadership, if you will. And he's never been infected by the poisonous schools of thought that call themselves Moorish American. And he gave you the purest form of understanding of what forgiveness is. Like, I can't even come behind that. I can't even come behind that. He gave you the purest degree of what I was going to say. And that shows me that this lesson right here stands the test of time. Where it says, either you and it says, Jesus had, and now a man grown strong, buffeted of every kind of teaching stirred. Jesus urged teachers in a journey. Okay. He said, either you and Salome heard his story with delight. They lift their eyes to heaven and said, our Father, God Allah, let now thy servants go in peace, for we have seen the glory of Allah. That lesson right there is that we have been teaching this lesson and it has reached its full circle. Because for you to talk to the assistant Grand Sheikh and he give you the purest lessons from our Quran about forgiveness, bro, that means our lessons have went full circle. That means it went full circle. That's a literal mic drop. That you must first forgive yourself. Know thyself. And ask yourself, what did you do to precipitate these actions that came from somebody else? Did you put yourself in a position? Did you not know yourself enough to not know the potential of this person that you allowed in your circle? What did you do? And so I just got to say honor to our assistant Grand Sheik and honor to all of those who are really studying these lessons, because it gets no purer than that. It gets no purer than that. Once you can forgive yourself, know thyself, you know the potential of those that you let in your circle. And if you are foolish enough to leave yourself open, then you got to forgive yourself first. And honor to our assistant Grand Sheik. That's a mic drop. My class done. I raise my eyes to heaven and praise the Lord. And that's what Moorish science all about. You taking responsibility. So, brother, I appreciate your demonstration. And I was going to go in to illustrate how we understand that forgiveness element within the Moorish doctrine of our Holy Quran and the Moorish Science Temple of America, that it all starts with so. But y'all did it. So I yield the floor to our assistant Grand Sheik, and this class is closed on time. Excellent. It's a mic drop. I got to save my other slides for another time now, because that was definitely a mic drop. So assistant Grand Sheik, Mazouk Razee, now, anything you want to add as we close out this class?
Islam, first of all, I rise to give praise to Allah, the great God of the universe. I give high honors to our prophet, Noble Drew Ali. I give honors to everyone in the class today, and I give honors to everybody that's listening in to our class on Facebook. You know, our prophet has really, he's opened our minds up and teaching us to be ourselves. And, you know, the first thing we learned is that the understanding is that man and Allah are one. And the question that Brother J. William Zeal put out there, it made me think a little bit, but I first got my eyes opened up when we started reading, I forget what chapter it's in, but it was saying that reasoning solves misery. It deals with misery. So, you know, that shuts off everything that's rerunning in your mind. And so, you know, and first thing we learn is we have to look within. And we got that lesson from you, Grand Sheik. So honors to you and honors to your teaching, you know, because it's up to us to understand. And if we work on ourselves, we can make some improvement. And so our prophet has taught us what's in us. And like I tell a lot of people, our heritage isn't our ethnicity. It's who we are. And we're one with Allah. So keep that in mind always. And start there, start within. Islam, I yield the floor. Peace and love.
Islam. And I say that we as the noble temples, the leaders of the Moorish thought, are working to codify this in written form so people can understand. So you don't have to run and think you got to do what the Muslims of the East are doing to feel as confident in your Islam as they are in their cultural overtones of Islam. It's up to us to codify this. You have to understand that Muhammad did not codify Islam. There was no book called the Quran when Muhammad was in the flesh. Prophet Muhammad, there is. There was no codification of 5 pillars of Islam when Muhammad was in the flesh. There was no codification of Ramadan as you know it when Muhammad was in the flesh. There was no codification of a lot of things that you see that's called Islam when Muhammad is in the flesh. Prophet Noble Drew Ali actually gave us everything that we need and told us that we can make laws and customs in conjunction with Grand Temple number 1. But we have yet to codify. So when someone says, what is Moorish Science Temple of American philosophy or doctrine? Most times it's all over the place. But we are charged to put it on the record, and in the words of Taj Tariq Bey say, for the record, so people can understand exactly what it is. So we don't have to fumble around and say 5 different things. No. How do Moorish Americans pray? The customary prayer of the Moorish American is we stand on a 45-90 degree, if you will. Feet at a 45-90 degree, if you will. We stand up straight, eyes open, 5 fingers open to the left, 2 on the right. So the world can know what this is. That is, if you would say, the organizational customary prayer. But the ultimate prayer is the nearest place to meet Allah is in the heart. Going within. But our custom is facing the east. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Then we can break down the symbolism with the 5 on the left, 2 on the right, 45-degree angle, et cetera, standing up, eyes open, et cetera, et cetera. We can break down that all day long. But the essence of prayer is the nearest place to meet Allah is in the heart. That got to be codified. And when I mean codified, it got to be written down so people can know what it is. So they can't associate us with those things that we're not associated with. Then we got to break down the essence of what fasting or abstaining is. We got a lot of work to do here. A lot of times we're just playing lip service year after year after year after year after year. But the noble temples has been given a special place and has been given a special charge in history. Because I can travel all throughout the internet. I ain't hearing this nowhere. I don't know if you're hearing it somewhere, but I'm sure not. And if you are hearing it somewhere, put me on point. So it's time for us to codify this so the world can know that from the inhabitants of Africa, from the descendants of the inhabitants of Africa, there's much wisdom to be learned in the name of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I yield the floor to our Grand Sheikh S. McCallum Bey, the Grand Sheikh of the Virtual Moorish Science Temple of America. Islam.
Islam, beautiful.